南无大方广佛华严经，华严海会佛菩萨。南无大方广佛华严经，华严海会佛菩萨。
Homage to the great means expensive Buddha's flower adornment sutra and the oceanic flower adornment assembly of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas.
无上甚深微妙法，百千万劫难遭遇。我今见闻得受持，愿解如来真实义。
The unsurpassed, profound, and wonderful Dharma is difficult to encounter in hundreds of millions of eons. I now see and hear it, receive and uphold it, and I vow to fathom the Tathagata's true meaning.
正身端坐，当愿众生作菩提座，心无所着。
When sitting upright and proper, I vow that living beings will sit on the Bodhi seat and be without any attachment in their mind.
结跏趺坐，当愿众生善根坚固，得不动地。
When sitting in the full lotus posture, I vow that living beings will have solid roots and attain the ground of stillness.
听讲经时，当愿众生顺佛所说，总持不忘。
When I listen to the sutra lecture, I vow that living beings will accord with what the Buddha says and unite with and uphold it without forgetting any.
诸佛菩萨、师父上人、各位善知识，今天是公元2022年6月11日，星期六晚上，我们继续研究发菩提愿。
Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Venerable Master, Dharma Masters, and good knowing advisors, Amitofo. It is Saturday night, June 11th, 2022. We will continue study how to make Bodhi vows.
今天刚好是伽蓝菩萨的圣诞。
Today is the birthday of Sankarama Bodhisattva.
我们现在呢，最近万佛城在办华严法会哈，我们有唱42字母。
So recently, in the city of 10,000 Buddhas, we have the Avatamsaka Dharma assembly, and we are also chanting the 42 syllabary.
大家看啊，《大智度论》卷48，四念处品第19。
So let's take a look at row 48 on the chapter of Four Foundations of Mindfulness, section 19, from the Great Perfection of Wisdom Shastra.
复次诸陀罗尼法，皆从分别字语生。42字是一切字根本。因字有语，因语有名，因名有义。菩萨若闻字，因字乃至能了其意。
So it says, furthermore, all the Dharma of Dharanis comes from the distinctions of words, words and languages. So 42 syllabaries is the basis of all characters. Okay, all characters. From characters, there are languages. From languages, they are names. From names, they are meanings. Bodhisattvas, when they hear these characters, from these characters, they can understand the meanings.
重点是这个红的42字是一切字根本。
So we want to emphasize on the red part. That's the most important part, the crucial part. It says the 42 syllabaries are the basis of all characters.
所以种种的语言，不管你说的是华语、马来语、英语、西班牙文，你什么语言都好，不管你说的是什么话，全部都是从哪里来的呢？42字。
Okay, so we have all kinds of languages in the world, whether you're speaking Mandarin, Chinese, Malaysian, English, Spanish, whatever language you speak, where do they come from? They come from the 42 syllabaries.
种种语言文字。
All the words and writings and languages.
就是从42字那边来的。
All come from 42 syllabary.
所以，因为我们要证到陀罗尼嘛，哈，总一切法持无量义，有无量无边的陀罗尼，我们要修正的。然后，所以在这里呢，龙树菩萨呢就告诉我们，他就介绍了，为了讲解陀罗尼啊，他就介绍42字，因为陀罗尼从哪里来？陀罗尼，譬如说大悲陀罗尼嘛，哈，南无汉那达那达那耶耶，请那几句，南无汉那达那达那耶耶。南无汉那达那耶耶，南无阿里耶婆罗吉帝娑婆那耶。OK， 你看每一个字都从哪里来呢？42字母那边来的。
Okay, so because we want to learn all the Dharmanis, which means to uphold all dharmas, which means unite all dharmas and uphold all meanings. And we have limitless and boundless Dharmanis we wish to cultivate and realize. So Nagarjuna Bodhisattva, in order to explain the 42 syllabaries, he said this. And so, for example, from the Great Compassionate Mantra, Namahaladana, Dona Yaya, Nama Aliya, and so on. So all that, all the syllables from these mantras, all come from the 42 syllabary.
那同样的，我们人在讲话的时候，譬如说，我现在呢，煮饭哦，没有经验嘛，哈，炒菜没经验呢，炒出来的菜太咸了，人家说你，哎呦，拜托，你怎么炒得这么咸呐？啊，那这一句话哦，评论哦，这个语言呢，每一个字拆开来也是从42字母那边来的。
Okay, and so, for example, when we talk, we also use our languages in our speech, and when we cook, and because you don't have much experience, you go and stir fry some vegetables, and you accidentally put too much salt, and people say, oh, it's so salty, oh please, how come your vegetables are so salty? Now when people give you this comment, when they criticize you, if you really take a part of the sentence of their critique, you'll all know it also comes from the 42 syllabary.
所以你就可以当说他在唱12字母给你听。
And then you can just regard this criticism as if they are singing the 42 syllabaries for you.
这是今天我唱华严字母的一个很深的一个，在唱的当下哦，突然一个念头跑出来告诉我说，一听到什么声音，就是在人家在唱42字母给你听啊。
And so this is the insight I had when I was doing Weino of this 42 syllabaries this morning. And so I realized, oh, from now on, whatever people say, whatever they tell you, you just treat it like, oh, they're singing the 42 syllabary for me.
Yes. 所以我也明白为什么上人曾经教诲我们要修忍住波罗蜜的时候啊，他说那个人骂你，你当他在唱日本歌给你听，你就不会生气了。为什么上人这么说？因为它的源头就是42字母，42字母产生一切的语言，包括一切的咒、一切的经，全部都从42字母那边来的。所以你就直接观它的性，它的源头就是42字母，充满无量功德的42字母。
Okay, so when Venerable Master taught us that we need to practice the patience paramita, and that's why he said, oh, when someone scolds you, you just treat them like they're singing a Japanese song to you, because you don't really understand Japanese, so whatever they sing, you won't get angry, right? So because the source of all languages comes from the 42 syllabaries, all languages, all mantra, all sutras, all the characters, all the sounds come from 42 syllabaries. So you would directly contemplate the nature of the words and languages and the source of the merit and virtue.
所以这一点呢，我就可以连贯到这个净恨品说要善用其心，则获一切圣妙功德。
And so from this point, we can connect to the pure practice or the pure conduct chapter so that we know how to skillfully use our mind so we can attain all merit and virtue.
所以以后你听到什么声音，你要让你获功德，我教你，你可以说：若有所闻，当愿众生8个字，常闻诸佛圆音说法。
Okay, so to apply it to our daily life from the Pure Practice chapter, whatever you hear from now on, you can make this vow. Whatever I have listened or hear, I vow that living beings will always hear all the Buddhas claiming the Dharma of perfect teachings.
对，背起来啦！哎呦，这么小字。
常闻诸佛圆音说法。
你们背吧，现在背一背。因为我们sorry 啊，等一下啦，圆音。
原教的原。
因为我们这一次拜华严忏的拜了2次，不是有拜到说我们耳根嘛哈？我给你们看那个华严忏一下好了，你先翻。
Okay, so please try to memorize this line. Whatever I hear, whatever I have listened to, I vow that all living beings will always hear all Buddhas proclaiming the Dharma of perfect teachings.
他说我们的耳贪生净，障自性空，不闻如来圆音说法。我特喜欢这一段，这忏悔文的这一段。
When we bow the Avatamsaka repentance, there is this section in the repentance text. It says, "Our ears have been greedy for sounds, which has blocked the emptiness of our inherent nature, so we do not hear the perfect sound of the thus come one speaking Dharma."
就是讲我们众生要忏悔6根嘛，这里是忏悔耳根。
So when we repent, we want to repent the offenses we made from the 6 sense organs, and this particular one is repenting the offenses we create from our ears.
譬如我们的耳根呢，众生都喜欢贪一些你想听的声音，可是你这个贪听好听的声音的这个行为呢，就障碍你自性的这个空的这个本质。
Okay, so our ears are always greedy to listen to the sound we like to listen to. We are greedy for things we want to listen to, and because of this greed, it obstructs the emptiness of our inherent nature.
就像我们不能够吃众生肉，为什么呢？他说吃众生肉是断大慈悲佛性种子，也就是说，你吃了肉，你这个动作呢，你这个行为呢，就断了你自己的什么呢？佛性种子的大慈悲心。我们的佛性的种子有大慈悲的成分，它的其中一个本质是大慈悲。可是你一吃了肉，你的佛性的大慈悲种子就给你断了。所以不要吃众生肉，也不要杀生。所以这个都是一种行为，就会障碍到你的自信的功德的显现啊，让你会堕落啊，就是造的业越来越重嘛，就会堕三途了。怎么去成佛呢？怎么回去自信呢？就很难了嘛。
Okay, so that's why we say we should not eat living beings' flesh, because when we eat living beings' flesh, when we eat meat, we cut off, we savor the seed of our Buddha, of our great kind and compassionate nature, the seed of great kindness and 佛性的种子。
大慈悲佛性种子。
Okay, so the seed of great kindness, great compassionate Buddha nature. Okay, so because our behavior of eating meat will cut off will cut off our Buddha nature, because the seed that we have, it has the essence of great kindness and great compassion. As soon as we eat living beings' flesh, then we have savored this the seed. So that's why we should not eat living beings' meat. We should not engage in killing, because these behaviors will obstruct the manifestation of the merit and virtue from your inherent nature. And because when you create these offenses, you will naturally fall into the three evil paths. And when you want to go back to your inherent nature, it becomes very hard.
你看我们一听的声音有些人对声音很敏感的嘛。你听了声音之后呢，你接下来你的心里会动很多的念头，是第六意识起很多情绪的反应嘛，那个情绪的反应的后台老板就是第七摩那识。因为摩那识有每个人的主观，每个人有自己的我爱、我见、我慢跟我痴，我有我愚痴的想法，你有你愚痴的想法，就每个人都有各自的这个后台老板，就是这个摩那识，他会赢。如果你用你的摩那识来听声音的话，你听了之后呢，你的我爱会让你起欢喜或者讨厌然后你的我见呢，就会让你起很多种种意见不满意咯。所以这一切都是贪的生成之后会动很多妄想或很多恶念，这个就造业了，就越走越远了，完全是跟自信的本来一切本空的道理是相违背，你完全不能够感受到万物本空了，当下是空不到的。
Okay, so when as soon as we hear the sound or anyone's voice, we will have lots of thoughts, and we'll have emotional reactions too. At this point, your boss, your backstage boss, your mana consciousness, which is where the ego resides, it has self-love, a self-view, arrogance, and delusion. That's where all these reside. And I have my own delusion and you have your own delusion. So your boss, your mana consciousness, as soon as it hears the sound, your self-love arises, and you like the sound, you don't like the sound, or your self-view arises, you have this opinion, that opinion, and you're not satisfied, you're not happy. So when we're greedy for the sense object of sound, we will give rise to lots of false thinking, or even malicious thoughts, which goes against the principle of how our inherent nature is original empty. And so you won't be able to understand that mirror things are originally empty because you can't empty out.
然后呢，所以如果我们一直贪生净障智性空，一直这样子的情况我们就永远听不到如来的原因说法，障碍自己可以直遇诸佛来给我们说法，而且说法佛的声音是圆满的，叫原音。你也可以说，你就没有机会听到圆教的法，藏通别圆最高称的圆教你听不到，华严大法你听不到，法华这一些你也听不到。
Okay, so if we keep being greedy for listening to good sounds, then it will really obstruct the emptiness of our inherent nature, and we cannot hear the perfect sound of that's someone speaking Dharma, because the Buddha's sound is perfect. And so you could also interpret perfect as being the perfect teachings. That's the highest Dharma. For example, the Avatamsaka Sutra Dharma, the Dharma from the Lotus Sutra. These highest Dharma you can't hear.
其实呢，上人也常常教诫我们，万事万物都在说法，就是草木一切的如幻如化的境界。一切的人事物都在跟你演说妙法，就看你听懂听不懂。
Okay, so Venerable Master actually have taught us that the myriad things are speaking Dharma for us. Be it a blade of grass or a piece of wood, people, things, matters, they are all illusory. They are all speaking Dharma to us. It all really depends on whether you know how to listen to it or not.
所以如果大家尽量用自己的自信的种种很高尚的那个本质譬如我们自信是大慈大悲的，自信是有平等心的自信是极尽的观空的，就像大悲咒10种心那种成分，都是自信的成分来。如果你用这一种自信的成分来去解读一切你所6根对6层的境界的话，你就在听到如来圆音说法了，你就有这个能力就出来了。
Okay. So if we use the essential nature, the lofty essential nature, which has great kindness, great compassion, has the mind of equality, has the nature of being still and quiescent, it is empty. Or, for example, the 10 minds of great compassion and mantra. All these has the essence from our inherent nature. If you know how to interpret the states that comes from being from your sixth sense organ come in contact with the sense objects, then your ability to hear the Buddha's perfect sound will naturally come forth. If you know how to interpret these states with your inherent nature.
我们来看我们自信自信的这10种成分前面9个呢，就是一种无上菩提心的表现但是都是自信的最清净的那种心境。
Okay, so let's look at these 10 minds. Actually, they are 10 kinds of essence from our inherent nature. The first 9 is the the manifestation or appearance of unsurpassed Bodhi. It is our pure inherent nature.
好，这个大悲心陀罗尼相貌他说他的相貌就是这样子的：大慈悲心、平等心、无为心、无染着心、空观心、恭敬心、悲下心、无杂乱心、无见取心、无上菩提心。你们持大悲咒的人呢，一定要把它背起来，而且要天天发愿，愿我及众生念念都能够具足大慈悲心、平等心、无为心、无染着心、空观心、恭敬心、悲下心、无杂乱心、无见取心、无上菩提心。你每天这样，每次念大悲咒就发这个愿呢，你念了大悲咒，你一定整个气质都改变，你一定跟大悲咒相应了。
Okay, so this is the 10 kinds of minds from the characteristics of great compassion, mind running. So these are the 10 minds or 10 characteristics. A mind of great kindness and compassion, a mind of impartiality, a mind of unconditionality, a mind free from defilement and attachment, a mind of contemplating emptiness, a mind of respect and reverence, a mind of humility, a mind free from confusion, a mind free from views and grasping, a mind of unsurpassed Bodhi. So those of you who are reciting the great compassion and mantras every day, you must make this vow. May all living beings and I obtain the mind of great kindness and compassion, a mind of impartiality, a mind of unconditionality, all the way down to a mind of unsurpassed Bodhi. So in thought after thought, when you recite the great compassion and mantra, make this vow before you start your recitation. Then very fast you will have a mind correspond to these 10, to the great compassion and mantra.
所以你看如果你用那个恭敬的心呢，去解读你所听到的一切声音的话，你真的会好像听到如来圆音说法，会有这种感受。
So if you use the mind of respect to interpret all sounds that you hear, then you will feel that you're listening to the Buddha's perfect sound, speaking Dharma.
你们知道，不是以前古印度有 一个在家人，他很诚心共生的嘛哈，常常请到庙里面请法师去他家应供嘛，他是依次，就是今天是这个法师，明天又轮到另外一个，这样子有一次就轮到那个不会说法的法师受供。
So in ancient India time, they have a custom to make offerings to the Sangha. They will invite Dharma masters to their house and make offerings to them. And they do this in rotation. One day is these few Dharma masters, and the next day, based on their rotation, is the next few. So one time, they are making offering to a Dharma master who does not know how to speak Dharma.
这里有很多版本，有的说是刚好轮到呢，经验不足的沙弥吧，然后那个沙弥呢，他呢吃了那些斋饭之后呢，他就请沙弥上座说法给他听嘛，然后他就上了座，没办法也是要上座嘛，然后他就在那边闭眼睛在思维咯，就其实他是讲不出一句话来。没有法好说，但是居士在前面跪着，合起掌，不敢抬头，这样等着听法。
Okay, so there are a few versions of this story. One version says it's actually a shamanera, it's a novice monk, who were invited for this offering. So after he finished eating the vegetarian food, he was invited to sit on the Dharma seat to speak Dharma. So this novice monk closed his eyes, sitting on the seat, thinking what to say. But he couldn't really speak a thing. So there is no Dharma to speak. But at the same time, all the lay people were kneeling down there. Oh, one lay person kneeling down there. It was the donor kneeled down there, put his palm together with his head down respectfully, waiting to listen to the Dharma.
然后这么久了还不说呢，他就在想，哇，法师在入定了，他可能入了三昧之后呢，触定才跟我说法，那真的是有功夫啊。
And then he was waiting for so long. He's like, wow, he hasn't spoken a word after so long. Maybe he's entered samadhi. Maybe after he comes out of samadhi, he will say something to me.
然后呢，当他抬头看法师的时候，刚好呢，那个沙弥呢是怕得要命哦，就往上呢看天，他就不怎么办啊，就已经动了，开始摇动了嘛，看天。
Okay, so when the layperson, the donor, raised his head, and the novice didn't know what to do, so he looked up in the sky, or looked upward, and he rolled his eyes, thinking in his mind, oh, what to do.
他看到沙弥这样，他也就能够解读哦。他说到往上看哦，就叫我要呢怎么样修行哦，要往上爬。
And so this layperson had interpreted this movement of Sami, his novice looking up. He said, "Oh, I understand. He is telling me, oh, I have to go upward in my cultivation. I have to advance."
然后等一下又再看的时候，他又低头，
And the
因为
novice
真的
looked
讲不
down.
出嘛，低头。
The novice really couldn't speak Dharma, so he then lowered his head. He looked down.
他想，哇，这个法师怎么这样厉害的？不用说法，但他用他的动作就跟我说了大法，叫我要背下心。
And so the layperson interpreted this movement. Oh, this Dharma master, he's so really good. He didn't have to use sound. He just used his movement of the body to speak Dharma. So he's teaching me to be humble.
所以我不讲到完整个故事，可是到后来呢，这个法师呢，他看这个人在下面，这个施主在下面呢，也是很恭敬，这样低头的时候，他就偷偷溜走了。
And so I won't finish the whole story, but in the end, the donor was still kneeling down, and the novice monk saw, the donor is still with his head lowered, and then he didn't say a word, he ran away.
所以等到他看的时候，咦，怎么不见了？哇，他真的有神通哦，飞走了。他当下就开悟了，悟到什么？人空法空，厉害吗？两个都空掉了，我空法空啊。
And so then the novice disappeared, and then when the layperson raised his head, he said, wow, this Dharma master, he has spiritual power. He flew away. And right at that moment, the layperson was enlightened. He was awakened. And he realized, oh, people are empty. Dharma is also empty.
然后他不是要跑去庙里面去求印证吗？到底我是不是证到这个我空人空？然后跑到庙里面，沙弥也是很急嘛，在房间里面哦，怕得不得了。可是人家真的在敲他的门了。
And so this layperson wanted to go to the monastery because someone had to certify him of his realization. And so he went to the monastery, and the novice who just fled back also panicked. He was so afraid that this layperson would come in.
敲他的门。
He knocked on the door.
所以他听到敲门声，他就更急了，闻声音，闻敲门声来要债要法了，吓得他不得了。
And so he was just really in a very panic state when he heard the door knocking. Oh, this person coming for debt, coming to seek for Dharma. He panicked even more.
然后就在这一刹那呢，沙弥自己也证到我空人空，就人空法空。
So at that moment, the novice monk also realized the emptiness of people and the emptiness of Dharma.
这个故事大家听了很多遍了，不晓得你们有没有进一步去想一想，为什么会这么特别呢？
Now we've heard the story many times, but have you taken your time to think about why this story is so special?
我想就是这个听法的施主，他真的是善用其心的，他就是那颗善良的心，常常请法师到他家去应供，然后听法，然后他没有起分别心，说这个法师很会讲，那个法师讲的比较差，我都想睡着了，没有这些念头，谁讲他都一样恭恭敬敬的来听法，他的心本来就是有这种平等心的成分。
Okay, so this all is because the donor who is listening to the Dharma knows how to skillfully use his mind, because he has this wholesome heart. When he made offerings to the monastics, he listens to the Dharma. He did not make any distinctions. He did not judge, oh, this is a good Dharma speaker, he's speaking well, that's a really poor Dharma speaker, so terrible, and I fall asleep all the time. His mind was just very impartial, and he was respectful.
所以他对每一个来到他家讲法的法师，他都一律这样很好法的去听，而且他每次都听到很有感触，就学到很多妙法，就是等于在听到诸佛在原音说法给他听那样子。
Okay, so every Dharma masters who came to his house, when he listened to their Dharma, it's like he had a lot of good insights, and they all speaking really wonderful Dharma. It's as if he's heard the Buddha's perfect sound, proclaiming the Dharma.
所以当他遇到人家说不出法的时候，他还可以想到这么妙的法出来，而且还可以我空人空，是最极致了。听法到最后修行就是要证到我空人空嘛，才可以成佛嘛。
So when this novice monk went to his house, and he couldn't really speak, he was still able to learn Dharma from him, to interpret the Dharma so wonderfully. Eventually he realized the emptiness of people and the emptiness of Dharma. So this is a really high level, because at that point then one can also become a Buddha.
所以从这个我觉得呢是行得通的，为什么他可以呢遇到这样好的因缘，这个法师什么都没说，可是他却开悟，就因为他之前的钱方便嘛，之前他就是修得很好，有打基础，他就是一样恭敬一律平等恭敬去跟所有的法师人学他们的好，就见一些众生的本性清净哦，他是见大家的好，就像印光大师所说的，只看好样子，不看坏样子，看一切人都是菩萨，唯我一人实是凡夫。他就是，我觉得他应该是有这 这一种的品质，他的心态是真正能够恭敬一切的，就是有这个恭敬心啊。
So from here, I feel that it's all connected. He's got this really good causing condition to become enlightened. That's because when he cultivated, he had practiced a lot of prerequisites beforehand. He was very respectful. He was very impartial. So when all Dharma masters speak to him, he was able to see that all living beings' inherent natures are original, pure. So we say, like Great Master Yin Guang said, we only look at good examples. We don't look at the bad examples. Regard everybody as bodhisattvas. I myself am only the ordinary person here. So it's because this donor has this personal characteristic. He was able to respect everybody. He has this mind of respect.
然后因果两个字很重要，因为他呢，就是这个沙弥呢，他也是无心插柳成荫，本来就不会说法的人，却能够呢，反而他是最独特的人。他既然令这个常常请法师们去他家里应供的居士开悟了，你看妙不妙？为什么他有这个，他种了这个因，让这个人开悟，结果他的果报很快，他立刻也开悟。所以就是说，你对人好，你很快就拿到了，你一定收到很好的那个果报。
Okay, so cause and effect is very important here. You see, this novice, he did not intentionally make this plan, but he became the most unique case because of him. This donor who had always make offerings was enlightened, and because he planned the cause of causing people to become enlightened, he himself also become enlightened. So when you treat people well, what you receive is also goodness in return.
我们大家看，我们常常看人的时候，就是等于这个 emoji 一样，对吗
？So when we look at people, you look at this picture on the screen, we always point at people when we look at people.
我们的眼、耳、鼻、舌、身、意，去想人家。听人家，看人家，种种的这个六根对他们的六尘的时候，你有想法，对他有一些想法，就是等于这只手指一样指着他了。
Okay, so whatever we think, whatever we hear, whatever we see, it's very much like this finger. When our six sense organs, eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind, when we looked at other people, and when it matches up with the sense objects other people are producing, then we are just like this finger pointing at others.
开心过一天，或者烦恼过一天，都是你自己选择的。你要选择开心过一天也可以，你要选择烦恼过一天也可以。就当你每天跟这么多人相处的时候，他们的一举一动，让你开心或者烦恼，是你自己选择的，看你要不要开心，还是要因为这样而烦恼，还是你要觉得他在原因说法，他在唱42字母给你听。刚才说，若有所闻，当愿众生常闻诸佛什么原因说法。
Okay, so if you're happy, a day will pass. If you're sad, a day will also pass. So whenever you get along with people, when you deal with people, whether you're happy or you're afflicted, it's actually your choice. It just really depends on whether you can hear the perfect sound speaking Dharma. Remember earlier that verse we had? Whatever I hear, I vow that all living beings will always hear all Buddha's perfect sound speaking Dharma.
那讲回这个哦，这只手指当你看人家的时候，是一个手指指向他，4个手指是指向谁？你自己。
So when you use this one finger pointing at other people, you got 5 fingers, right? One finger pointing at others. but 4 fingers point back at you.
所以当你说你太好了，你就是说他的优点，讲很多他的优点的当下，你讲他一个优点，但是你得到的果报呢？你会收到多少优点？别人家赞叹回你多少次？4次。你赞叹人家1次，人家会赞叹你4次，这个果报逃不掉，这个是好的。
Okay, so when you praise somebody, oh, you're so wonderful. So your finger points out, right? You point out 1 finger, but what points back is 4 fingers. So you praise this person once, but what you get back is 4 times as much as what you have given out. Now this is a good reward.
那如果你指责别人，你嫌弃人家，觉得人家很不好，你说他1次，你以后呢被嫌弃4次，你嫌弃人家1次，你会被嫌弃4次，这个都是你跑不掉了，是你自己一这样指出去的时候，你就要收回来4次。
Now, if we say you point this finger out, you point at other people's mistakes, and you dislike somebody, and you look down on them, you point out once. But in the future, the retribution you get of being disliked or being reprimanded or being looked down, it's 4 times as more as what you have said. So this is law of cause and effect. You cannot escape. So what you put out, you get 4 times back.
所以为什么呢？诸佛菩萨，还有包括印光大师，他都要教我们要只看什么好样子，不看坏样子，就表示说，每个人只要在凡夫地，就是还没有正果，你一定身口意三业有善与不善，每个人都是平等。我们有2个平等的，在佛地我们就是当然诸佛都是同共一法身是平等，在凡夫地也是平等的，因为我们有平等的佛性嘛，但是我们有平等的贪嗔痴，只不过你的贪嗔痴看在哪一方面嘛，是重还是轻，但是还没断，还是见思惑、尘沙惑都完全没断，所以不代表说你现在是一个修行人你永远就是一个修行人了，因为你是不定聚，你还没有进入定聚的那个修行人，所以还会进进退退。所以为什么有的人呢，现在是一个在家人，有结婚生子，过去是一个大和尚，没有一定的。所以为什么如果你走得长远，永远不退转，是要很强大的愿力去支持你走下去的，不然的话呢，因为我们就常常见到种种境界，造了很多业呀，或者贪生境嘛，或者眼贪好看的东西，对那个人起了一个染污心，就种下夫妇缘，你也不知道啊，对吗？所以是很危险的。在娑婆世界呢，我们要清净的话，真的要修这个净恨品所教的这些发愿文你看发一个愿过去，4个好果报就到你来。你当愿众生这么好，你就比一般众生快4倍可以拿到那个好，因为你是发愿者。你们觉得我讲的对不对
？Okay, so that's why Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and Great Master Ying Huang will always advise us to only look at good examples. Do not look at people's shortcomings, because as long as we are at the ground of ordinary people, we are all equal in terms of we all have 3 karmas of body, speech, and mind. Of course, within that there are wholesome karma, there are unwholesome karma. And in that sense, we are all equal. Why? Because in the ground of Buddhahood, we have the same Dharma body, just like all the Buddhas. But in the ground of ordinary people, we're all equal in a sense, because we all have greed, anger, and delusion. It just depends on where your greed, anger, delusion are in different areas. We all have that. We have not cut off from greed, anger, and delusion. We haven't cut off from our view delusion, our thinking delusion, our delusion as many as grains of Ganges River sand. So now, because we are all cultivators, we are this cultivator in this life does not guarantee that we will be a cultivator in our next life. It is because we are still in the indefinite state of clusters or indefinite state, meaning that we sometimes advance, sometimes we retrogress, we fall back, we retreat. Now we are a lay person. Maybe in the past life we are a monk. So in order not to retreat, we need to really make a strong vast vows to support our path of cultivation. So if we and we may end up creating karma. So if we are greedy for the state of good sounds, or eyes are greedy for good things, or maybe you have one impure thoughts with this person, and you may tie the affinities of becoming husband and wife for next life. You never know. So we want to maintain our purity, want to be pure in our thoughts. We really want to put in practice the pure conduct chapter and the pure practice chapter. That when we see living beings, we make a vow for all living beings. When we make vows all the time, just like that emoji, just like that finger, when you put out one good thought for living beings, you get 4 back. So in that analogy, you will become Buddhas 4 times faster than other living beings who have not made the vow, because you're the one who made the vows. So does this make sense, this analogy?
哎呀，时间实在是不够用。现在就是说我刚才一开始是讲唱42字母嘛，哈，所以既然是12字是一切字的根本，所以人家讲什么话，说你多好，说你多不好的话，拆开来每一个字都是从42字引申出来的字。譬如说嫌、讨厌，讨一定要有一个他跟凹，对吗？就是唐腾同突淘汰踢停弹停弹透他，就从那个他字就引申有他汤腾同突，可是他又要跟凹嘛，讨厌的讨要跟凹啊，昂恩翁乌凹哀有一个凹嘛，对不对？所以讨厌的讨这个字是必须要有那个他跟凹合并了，就是一个讨字。所以你把这个讨厌抄开来，哦，他在唱他字给我听，他在唱凹字给我听。如果你是这样去解读人家说的每一句话，你就是在入般若波罗蜜门哦。每一个字唱一个字母，你唱一个啊，哦啊是不生啊，是不生的意思啊，你知道吗？那个阿拉巴迦纳，好八，如果他讲的话里面有一个八，哇，不得了，5大心咒的八。对吗？所以你就是看你的心念念是在正念这些42字母，还是在正念那一些42字母所拼起来的一些种种无量无边的言语跟文字呢？然后就太在乎那些文字的虚妄相来起一个七情，然后造业，还是你要去听到如来言音说法来去保持清净的心念，然后一直发大愿给众生。若有所闻，我们发这个愿好了，大家读。若有所闻，当愿众生常闻诸佛圆音说法。你发的这个愿呢，以后你听到什么声音哦，你就听到如来圆音说法给你听，你还帮助众生很快开悟啊。如果你们听法，请问你们今天听到开心不开心？闻法开心，当愿众生念念长寿，大乘法乐。就发这样的一个愿出来，就说我今天好开心哦，我唱得好开心哦，今天华严经诵经开心，当愿众生念念长寿，大乘法乐。你一开心你就马上发大愿给众生，你就是善用其心，则获一切深妙功德。本来你只是一个开心呢，那只是法喜充满，还没有什么大的功德，只是你的那种当下的快乐嘛。但是你把当下的快乐转化成你修行的功德的话，你就得发这个愿出来，你就要训练你自己。 这样你就是每天活在大愿里面很快乐的哦。所以我很感恩你们哦，不计较让我来跟你们结法缘。我这一次真的，我这一次就是因为那天讲那个礼拜3讲的那个净恨品哦，真的很好。我第2天的时候，我脑子里全部愿。所以我就说哦，我懂了，以后我要单纯过日子，我不要太去解读一切我未来所遇到的人事物的种种我的爱憎，我不要了。我要的是说，我借什么机缘，什么事情，我就想到一个愿就发出来。我觉得这样很单纯又快乐，又好像有一个很大的力量。所以这一次在万佛城呢，参加这个华严法会呀，又讲这个发菩提愿呢，原来是度我自己的。到最后感觉就是在度我自己，要真正的落实经文在自己的生活当中，一举一动、一念一行都要这样，不是只是会讲没有用，会唱也没有用，唱了，但是你的心呢不能这样快乐，不能这样有法乐，还在找到那个相的顺与不顺、好与不好，那都是还是用凡夫心，没有用这个菩萨的那一种的念念受大乘法乐的心态。这个是我的，因为上个那天是你们讲心得吗？今天轮到我讲心得。
Yeah. Okay. So we said we want to count. Okay, we'll become Buddhas 4 times faster. So whether good or bad things we hear, wholesome and unwholesome sounds we hear, all comes from the 42 syllabaries, because earlier before you all coming we were talking about the 42 syllabaries is the basis of all characters and all words and languages. So when someone really dislike you or they kind of put you down, they don't like you, when they say something very salty is 咸 in Chinese, right? And or when they say I don't like you, 讨厌. And this character Tao, if we take it apart, Tao is Ta and Ao, right? It's the spelling of Ta and Ao. And you know where they come from from the 42 syllabaries, because it's Ta, Tang, Teng, Tao, Tu. So that's the extension of the 42 syllabaries, and you need to add Ao in there. So Ang, Ong, U, Ao, I. So all that is 42 syllabaries. If you know that the character Tao, as in dislike, the first character Tao, comes from Ta and Ao. And so then you can interpret, when someone says, oh, I really don't like this, and then I Tao Yen, and then you interpret Tao as, oh, this is Ta and Ao, and this person is singing the 42 syllabary for me. He's singing Ta to me, and he's singing Ao to me. So if you know how to interpret wholesomely, skillfully, other people's words to you, even if it's criticism, you would not feel distressed. For example, or means is the meaning of not coming to being. So the first 5 characters of the 42 syllabary is ara, ba, jana. So is the first character, the meaning of not coming to being. So this is the heart mantra heart, the 5 mantra heart of the 42 syllabary. So if you can interpret things like this in thought after thought, you will have a proper mindfulness. You are always thinking about the 42 syllabaries. Okay, so whether someone's saying something good, whether someone's saying something bad, you would not really pay too much attention to the illusory appearance of someone's sound or someone's writing, right? Then you will always be able to hear the Buddha's perfect sound speaking Dharma. So then we can make the pure vow. So the vow says that when whatever I have heard, whatever I have listened, I vow that all living beings will always hear all Buddha's perfect sound speaking Dharma. Or earlier we said perfect sound is also the perfect teaching. So then, or you can say, oh, I'm very happy, I went to the Buddha hall, I'm very happy singing the 42 syllabaries. And you can say, when feeling happy, I vow that all living beings in thought after thought will enjoy the Mahayana Dharma bliss. So if we know how to skillfully use our mind, or when I'm feeling blessed, I vow that all living beings will skillfully, will in thought after thought enjoy Mahayana bliss. So this is, when you make vows, this is skillfully using your mind so you can obtain great merit and virtue. If you're happy, that is just a sensual pleasure, like it's just a feeling. But how can you turn your sensual pleasure to make it, to transform it into merit and virtue, and live in the great vow is to make vows whatever you encounter. So, in other words, I really also appreciate your people. Let me come and speak Dharma to tie Dharma affinity with you. So really, this is my insight that I have gotten. We want to live a simple life, and we want to be at ease when we deal with people, matters, or things. How do we do that? We make a vow. So our life will be pure, our life will be simple, and whatever you encounter, you can transform it into some really good energy by making Bodhi vows. Okay, so when speaking the pure conduct chapter, I realized that although I'm speaking for you all, but I feel like I crossed myself over. So how do we put it into practice, the Dharma we have heard, the pure practice chapter? How can we apply it in our daily life so we are not attached to marks, good or bad? So how do we make vows so we can enjoy Mahayana Dharma bliss in thought after thought? Yeah, time is up.
没有，等一下，我想讲一下一个东西哈，
Okay, one
就
more
是
thing.
今天我唱萨瓦塔嘛哈，是第18卷萨瓦塔，就是，然后第4卷也是萨瓦塔，给我唱了2次，所以我就想，为什么会给我遇到这都是萨瓦塔呢？太妙了，这个我等下个礼拜3才讲。
Okay, so today our 42 syllabary, the 3 syllabary we sang is Sa, Wa, Da. And last time, when I was Wayno, I also encountered in row 4, it was also Sa, Wa, Da. But today it was my turn again, and if the cycle comes back and I have to sing Sawata again. So I was reflecting, how come I get a chance to sing Sawata twice? We will share this next Wednesday.
我们现在回向。
Okay, transference.
Fabu